Happy St. Patrick's Day, folks, and welcome back to WrestleRant Ranks, where every single Monday I, Graham Gius and Matthews, do tier lists, do rankings, do quizzes. Last week here on the show, we did top 6 instances where I felt John Cena should have gone heel instead. Of Elimination Chamber 2025, I pinpointed 6 other times where he should have gone heel instead in the last 15, 20 years. And there were actually some other great instances as well that you guys pointed out in the comments, which I appreciated. But we're going to kind of keep along the John Cena theme here today, as tonight on Raw, or today on Raw, I should say, in mere hours from when this video is being released on the channel, John Cena is giving his first highly anticipated promo as a heel, or at least we fucking hope so. Hopefully he doesn't show up and say nothing or just say 2 words. That would be very disappointing after how long we've waited for this moment. But since last week we were on a John Cena kick, let's continue it this week with every world title win of John Cena's career. Now, of course, a WrestleMania 41 coming up next month. He is challenging Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. If John Cena wins that match, he will become a record-setting 17-time WWE World Champion. What you're probably wondering is, when do these other 16 times happen? When were the other 16 world title reigns this man has had in the last 20 years? Some of which you probably remember. There's probably a lot of which that you don't. So let's go through them here today on the Tier List Maker website. I'm going to put the link to this Tier List Maker in the description box if you want to fill it out for yourself and share and let me know. Aside from just leaving a comment on what you think of my list, which I would also appreciate, you can do so. So the link is going to be down below. The cool thing about this list, I made this one myself. This tier list I made myself on the website. I looked up images of every championship win this man had, and I can think in my head, okay, dating back to 2005, he won this championship here. He won that world championship there. The first one was in 2005. The most recent one, not counting, of course, WrestleMania 41, if he does indeed win, and he fucking should, would have been 2017. So John Cena has not been world champion since 2017. Now, again, you're going to look at a lot of these pictures that I put up here, and these are all the matches or the moments in which he won these championships. I can look at these pictures, well, first of all, because I put together the list, but second of all, I can look at these pictures and remember, okay, this was when he won that title. This was the match in which he won it in. I can remember the pay-per-view, in which a lot of people may not be able to, because honestly, a lot of his world title wins and reigns do blend together. Some are like a fucking minute, some are like 15 minutes, some are like a year long, some are a couple months long. So let's go through them here, I guess in the order in which they are here on the tier list. I thought I put them together in chronological order. I did originally, and then all the pictures were, I think, moved around. So we'll start from the beginning here. And again, you look at that picture and probably think to yourself, when is that? Where is that? What title win is that? I can't tell you what exact number the title reign was. I could have put a number on it. I could have edited all the images and put a number on which reign each of these wins were, but that was, I think, ultimately unnecessary. I remember this win from being at Bragging Rights 2009. He faced Randy Orton in an Iron Man match. Now, the match right next to it was when he won the championship the time before that. He won the title a whole bunch of fucking times in 2009. I think he had 3 or 4 different world championship wins in 2009. The last win of which, where he won the belt from Randy Orton, it was in an Iron Man match, like I said, at Bragging Rights. A very forgettable show. That was when they were first doing the whole brand supremacy bullshit, and it didn't even really mean anything then. Oh, you won a trophy, who cares? But the saving grace of that show was its main event between Cena and Orton. And by late 09, we had seen it all from these two. Like, literally the month before, they had a Hell in a fucking Cell match where Orton won to win the belt back from Cena, where Cena won the championship in this I Quit match, which we'll get to in a moment. I guess we could do that one first. So the title was constantly bouncing back and forth between the two. The I Quit match was actually good. The reign, I'm going off of the wins. We're not doing the reign. I'm doing greatest world championship wins, because the win itself might have been amazing, the match in which he won it in. The reign itself may have been fucking D tier, because it was either forgettable or short or whatever. So we're going off of world championship wins. I'm going to start with the I Quit match, because that one technically took place first. That would have been in September of 2009, when WWE did its first and only Breaking Point pay-per-view. Jamie Lee Mack and I actually shit on that show a couple of weeks ago on WrestleRant Radio. The match itself was good. It was better than the SummerSlam match the month before. So I'll go B on that one. The match was fine. It was a great moment. John Cena has been involved in probably 4 I Quit matches in his career, 4 or 5, and has won every single one. Because he never gives up until recently anyway. So I'll put that in B. The aforementioned Iron Man match was a much better match. That was an excellent match. Cena being champion again didn't really mean much because, like I said, he won the championship back originally 2 months earlier, Breaking Point. He was already World Heavyweight Champion earlier on in the year. We'll get to that later on. But the match itself was awesome. So honestly, I'm kind of tempted to put it in S, but for now I'll put it in A. I'm not sure if any of these will end up in S. I think there's actually one that might end up in S, looking at these pictures now. So we'll put this in A, the top of A. The next one is Elimination Chamber 2010. So what happened was he won the championship from Orton at Bragging Rights '09. And then he had that great triple threat at Survivor Series with Triple H and Shawn Michaels the very next month. That was awesome. He then loses the championship pretty abruptly and surprisingly to Sheamus, a newcomer on the Raw roster who had just arrived and debuted literally mere months earlier, and quickly won the WWE Championship. Cena failed to regain the championship on Raw. They did Sheamus and Orton at Royal Rumble, which was very lame because they were both heels and no one really cared. So Sheamus defended the championship inside Elimination Chamber. Cena actually emerged victorious and won the belt back by lastly, I think, eliminating Triple H before immediately losing that championship within minutes to Batista. Per the request of Mr. McMahon, because Cena made an enemy out of McMahon due to the whole Bret Hart thing at that point, blah, blah, blah. And then Batista was the champion going into their match at WrestleMania. So honestly, I really do not remember much about the match itself. I was not watching the pay-per-views back then. I've gone back and watched these shows. This win was so forgettable. Obviously, the reign itself was D, F tier, because it ended within minutes. But the actual match and the title win was so forgettable, I'm putting it in C. I might even put it in D. Like I said, we'll see what the list looks like ultimately in the end, and maybe I'll shift some stuff around. But for now, I'll put it in C. This next one comes to us from Extreme Rules 2011. This was a triple threat steel cage match. And you see John Cena saluting the camera. He's sitting up on top of the cage. I believe this was in Tampa, and I remember that because Christian also won the World Heavyweight Championship that night from Del Rio, the vacant World Heavyweight Championship that Edge had to vacate when he retired due to injury like a month earlier, a couple of weeks earlier, whatever. John Cena was actually the main event that night, and he won the championship back for the first time in a while, probably since his 2010 reign in spring of 2010, because he won the championship back later on in 2010. That's why I kind of wish these reigns were chronological so we can go through them a bit better. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. So anyway, Cena won the championship back from Miz. After losing to Miz at WrestleMania 27, that fucking awful main event, one of the worst main events in WrestleMania history in 2011, ended up winning the belt back the very next month against Miz and Morrison in a triple threat match. I think he actually pinned Miz with a super attitude adjustment off the top of the cage, if I want to remember that correctly. So the match itself was good. This did set up Cena holding the championship the next night for Rock's big birthday party on Raw. And they were teasing, oh, maybe Cena and Rock won, which they already announced at that point a year in advance for WrestleMania 28. Could be for the WWE title. Obviously, it was not. The reign ended, fun fact for you, a couple of months later when he faced CM Punk at that now famous Money in the Bank pay-per-view in Chicago. So it was a good run, though. He faced R-Truth during that run, had an I Quit match with The Miz at Over the Limit. Wasn't champion for all that long, but it was a fine run. So I'll put this in B. I'll probably put it above the Orton match because I like that triple threat match, actually, that triple threat cage match with Miz and Morrison. I enjoyed that for what it was. R-Truth getting involved and costing Morrison the win, kind of furthering the R-Truth heel turn. Up next on the list, John Cena winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship for Money in the Bank 2014, not 2024. 2024 was when he announced his retirement, actually, Money in the Bank. But anyway, Money in the Bank 2014 in Boston, and I know that because Mr. Marceau was at that show. I was at Raw the next night. And it was Cena's first title win in a while, but it hardly felt fresh. I think this was his 15th championship win. I think he won this belt and then won it again one more time in 2017, which we'll get to a little bit later on. This was in the midst of Daniel Bryan getting injured. Daniel Bryan had just won the championships, whatever you want to call it, because it's technically 2 title belts, but they were counting it as one reign, kind of like what they were doing with Roman towards the end there. It's kind of hard to explain. But anyway, so John Cena wins this wins the vacant championship in a multi-man ladder match, a star-studded ladder match, which I think was originally supposed to be the Money in the Bank ladder match before they shifted plans, made a separate Money in the Bank ladder match, and had Cena win the championship in this match instead. He was not champion for very long. He was literally the definition of a transitional champion. He only won it just so he can lose it to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2 months later. Literally the only reason why they put the belt on him. So the match itself was fine. They've had much better ladder matches at Money in the Bank itself. I'm going to put this at top of C. The reign itself served its purpose. The win itself, I remember watching the show, and I've gone back and watched it since. I really do not remember much about that match. I think the Money in the Bank match is much better on that show. John Cena and Alberto Del Rio. So this was when he won the champ. I mean, there's actually 2 Del Rio matches on this list, unfortunately. This was Night of Champions 2011. John Cena lost the championship, like I mentioned earlier, at Money in the Bank to Punk. And they had an amazing match, one of the best of all time, whatever. So then they had a rematch at SummerSlam that Punk won via nefarious means, not intentionally, but I think Cena's foot was on the rope. Triple H, who was the special guest referee, didn't catch it. Del Rio subsequently cashes in that very same night after Kevin Nash attacked CM Punk. John Cena walked away, I guess, and Triple H also was not there or whatever. I guess he also walked away or whatever happened. I'm not sure what happened exactly, but Del Rio cashes in Money in the Bank and becomes WWE champion. So Punk goes off and feuds with Nash, or rather Triple H, because Nash got hurt, so they did Punk and Triple H instead on that show. And Cena faced Del Rio for the championship. You wouldn't think Del Rio would have lost the championship in his first pay-per-view title defense. He had one Raw title defense against Rey Mysterio that I remember, but his first pay-per-view title defense was against Del Rio, or rather against Cena, at Night of Champions 2011. The match itself was good. I remember Cena winning and thinking, clean no less. Why the fuck would you do that? And obviously now we know Del Rio's a piece of shit, so in retrospect, who even really cares? But at the time, Del Rio, any momentum he had as a heel, and he did end up winning the belt back literally like 2 weeks later from Cena in a Hell in a Cell match that also involved Punk. It's like, then what was the fucking point? Just keep the belt on Del Rio. An absolute waste of time. So I'll probably put this in C. Again, I might shift some stuff. I'll put it in C. I'll put it in middle of C. Because that chamber match, quite honestly, I don't remember at all. And Cena and Del Rio, to be perfectly honest, had good chemistry for a while. They had some very good matches throughout 2011 and other periods as well. So I'll put it in middle of C. That reign sucked. I wasn't happy with the win. I might retroactively put it in D, but we'll see. This next one, I know we fucking hated that it happened, but John Cena, I totally forgot, actually won a championship after losing it to Punk at Money in the Bank 2011. He actually won the interim title, and it wasn't called the interim title. It's basically what it was. But Punk leaves. They strip him, quote-unquote, of the championship. He was never actually not champion. And they put the belt on Cena instead by having him win a phony tournament. And then, actually, he didn't even win the tournament. Rey Mysterio did. And they rushed the whole thing by having Cena beat Rey literally later that night. It's like the villain origin story for John Cena, because so many people have despised Cena since then, because, like, that was such like a fucking heel move to let Rey Mysterio win the belt, and then 2 hours later, Cena beats him for the belt. Honestly, you could have turned Cena heel that night by just attacking Rey Mysterio. I was honestly kind of hoping for it, because it's like, hey, fuck you, I took your belt. And no one wanted to see Cena back as champion literally 8 days after he already lost the title. But I will say this, that match was awesome. Him and Rey had one of the best Raw matches I have ever seen. That was an amazing match. So, I mean, the win itself was whatever, because then Punk immediately returned and they did the champion face-off with the 2 belts and whatever going into SummerSlam, the unification match that they had. But the match itself was amazing. So I'm going to put that in A category, and honestly even over Cena and Orton from bragging rights, because I fucking love that match. This next one comes to us from Royal Rumble 2006. John Cena won his first world championship at WrestleMania 21, which is coming up later on in the list. He was champion for almost a year. He was champion up until New Year's Revolution 2006 when Edge cashed in. He actually just successfully defended the title inside Elimination Chamber, did Cena. And then Edge cashed in, became champion. Incredible moment. What a lot of people don't remember is that they quickly and swiftly took the belt back off of Edge literally 3 weeks later at Royal Rumble. I remember almost nothing of the match. The win itself was a complete fucking waste. Edge, I know they had him set up for a mid-card match at Mania, the hardcore match with Foley. That was amazing. And Cena was going in as champion against Triple H. I'm putting this in D. I remember nothing about the match. I wasn't even watching wrestling at the time, but I've gone back and watched it. It's a nothing fucking match. And Edge losing the belt so quickly after he, like, spiked ratings, the whole live sex celebration, and Edge really injected new interest into that title scene at that point because Cena had really grown stagnant. even during his first run as champion, we're not talking about the 10th or 11th time he was world champion. We're talking in fucking 2006. Like literally less than a year after he won the belt the first time. People were already sick of Cena. And then he wins the belt back within weeks. And he was champion for a while. He ended up holding it until, I think, One Night Stand, 2006, when he lost it to Rob Van Dam. So he had a pretty good run. The match at WrestleMania with Triple H was good. I think the three-way at Backlash with Edge and Triple H was good. This match, I remember nothing about it at all. And Cena winning is just a fucking waste. So I'm putting that in D, honestly. Next up, I think that's Royal Rumble 2017 when he won the belt from John Cena did rather, from AJ Styles. That was his most recent title win up until now anyway. Phenomenal match, and Cena literally only won the title on that show to tie Ric Flair's record for starters, but also so he could lose it within literally 2 weeks later to Bray Wyatt. And that was an amazing chamber match. I'm not complaining, but like Cena's big historic championship win where he tied Flair's fake WWE record was short-lived. Cena lost the belt 2 weeks later, which a lot of people do not remember. But what people do remember was at the moment instead of, I think, the Alamo Dome, which is where he won it in 2017. That's where the show took place, I believe. They had an amazing match, never left the ring, never touched the floor. And this was kind of the culmination of the trilogy they had up to that point. So this is easily, to me, S tier, because this is one of the best Cena matches that I have ever seen. So I think this has got to be, not only for the historical significance, because again, the reign itself was whatever. He literally lost the belt like 2 weeks later. But, for the historical significance alone and the fact that the match was incredible, that's got to go S tier. The next one was when he came back from injury at Survivor Series 08. So he got injured against Batista at SummerSlam, a great match, a guilty pleasure of mine. Love that match. Got hurt in that match, had to take time off. He was gone for 3 months. In that time, Punk was champion already at that point, lost the belt to Jericho, and Punk was stripped of the championship, couldn't defend it that night. Jericho won the belt in the scramble match, lost it to Batista, got it back. Jericho was on fire, but the whole game of hot potato with the belt was stupid. And then Jericho lost it, like, literally right after regaining it from Batista. He lost it at Survivor Series to John Cena. It was stupid. So the match itself was fine. This is another one like the Edge one. Like, who even cares? I'm going to put this in the D category. I probably wouldn't put it in D. I'll put it at bottom of C. I don't really remember the match all that well. They were in Boston, his hometown. It was his first world championship win, I think, since he vacated a world championship, the WWE title, almost a year earlier when he got hurt. Because when he came back, he didn't win a championship at all. He won the Rumble, which a lot of people remember. But he failed to win the championship from Orton because Orton got himself DQ'd in No Way Out. He didn't win the championship at WrestleMania. He didn't win the championship at Backlash. He got another championship opportunity at Night of Champions against Triple H. Lost that too. He had a lot of title opportunities that year that he lost. He lost a lot of matches in 08. I think a lot of people forget about that. And then he finally wins the belt at Survivor Series, and it was like, not that big of a deal. Lost the belt, I think, a couple of months later to, I think it was in the Chamber to Edge, which we'll get to a little bit later on here, but yeah, the Jericho win was okay. Yeah, I guess I'll probably put it above the Chamber match, but it wasn't anything special. The next one was Del Rio at Survivor Series 2013. Literally, so this is legitimately almost the exact same thing. Survivor Series was in Boston that year in 2013. Fucking awful show. Survivor Series 08 had some moments, and I'm pretty sure that was in Boston. But Survivor Series 2013, exactly 5 years later, also in Boston, and also marked the return of John Cena, who was granted a world championship opportunity out of nowhere. And to be fair, he did lose the title, the WWE title that is, to Daniel Bryan in 2013 at SummerSlam. Had to leave right afterward because he got hurt. If that sounds familiar, stop me if that sounds familiar. So that was kind of like his rematch and coming back at Survivor Series that year against Del Rio. The problem is the World Heavyweight Championship at that point meant absolutely fucking nothing. Del Rio felt like a lower mid-card champion. He was like opening up pay-per-views. The feud with Del Rio felt like a feud over the fucking IC Championship. Not Del Rio, I'm sorry, Rob Van Dam. Del Rio was the champion. And they had decent matches, but like no one gave a shit at that point. Del Rio had like no heat as a heel. No one gave a fuck. And we'd already seen him and Cena so many times before in 2011. So to run it back again in 2013, no one gave a fuck, dude. No one cared. And I think that was Or did he win the championship at Hell in the Cell? I think he won the championship at Hell in the Cell. I take that back. I think they had, man, I think I put down their Survivor Series match. I'm pretty sure he won the championship at Hell in the Cell 2013, and they had a rematch at Survivor Series where he retained. Either way, this was fucking awful. The matches were not great enough to justify them happening. Cena being champion again felt so stagnant, and literally he was only champion so he could lose the belt a month later to Orton, where they merged the championships, which at that point, quite honestly, was long overdue, because having two titles where one of them meant absolutely nothing was probably necessary, and the roster was so fucking thin. I mean, you're having Cena and Del Rio rekindle a rivalry that no one really cared about all that much in the first place. They had quality matches in 2011, 2013, not so much. So I'm putting this in the D category. This was just at least when he beat Edge, it's like, okay, he's winning back the belt for the second time. By this point, it was like reign number 12 or 13. No one cared at that point. It was awful. I mean, if that's worse, then it would be at the bottom of D. Speaking of Edge, so him and Edge, after they traded the title back and forth in early 06, went on to continue trading the championship throughout the remainder of 2006. Cena was champion up until One Night Stand 06. He and Rob Van Dam had that great match at One Night Stand that RVD won. Then RVD got suspended. They had to take the championship off of him, so they gave it to Edge. And then Edge was champion through Unforgiven. They beat Cena at SummerSlam, and they had one last match at Unforgiven in Edge's native Toronto, Canada, I believe. This was a TLC match, a phenomenal match. That picture that you see there is what a lot of people remember, him giving the FU, the attitude adjustment, whatever, to Edge through two tables off the top of a ladder. Honestly, I'm going S tier on this. That's such a memorable match. It's a great show overall. That also had a Hell in the Cell match on it between DX and the McMahons, actually, and maybe one other gimmick match. But definitely that might be the only pay-per-view in history that had a TLC match on it and Hell in the Cell. I could be wrong about that, though. But anyway, that match was incredible. So, and this was not a fucking SummerSlam. This was Unforgiven. So I'm going, bottom of S. People probably wanted Edge to win. People were not happy when Edge won, or Edge lost in Canada, of course, but the match was incredible. Cena's first championship win here from WrestleMania 21 in 2005. Match was okay. It was kind of TV-level quality. I think Batista and Triple H was far better, had a far better story. But, him winning his first world championship was indeed a memorable moment. I'd probably go B because it was a good moment. The match itself was whatever, but it was a good moment. So I'll go top of B for that one. The match was whatever, but the actual win itself was a good endorsement of Cena that made him into the man that we know as today, 20 years later. Final three here. John Cena winning the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 25. Edge, I mentioned before. Fast forward into 2009. Cena was champion for a couple of months. He lost it inside the chamber to Edge. And then they set up this triple threat match for Mania that no one gave a fuck about. Edge and Cena rekindling their feud once again. Also involving Big Show. At that point, just make it Cena and Edge. Like, they had a great last man standing match at Backlash the next month. Just do that at Mania. Just do it at Mania. To do it at a Backlash instead of this show, because this triple threat was whatever. Cena winning was whatever. He literally lost it a month later back to Edge anyway, so it's like it was such a waste of a fucking moment. It was just to give Cena a title win at WrestleMania. This was definitely C quality. Like, who even cared at this point? So I'll probably put it in the middle of C. The match, I don't know. Taker and Shawn went on before this, actually, and was much better than this match. I mean, Cena giving a double attitude adjustment to Edge and Big Show was cool, but beyond that, the match was totally forgettable. Cena and Batista from 2010, though, was awesome. Cena's reign in Elimination Chamber was all of a minute long, like I said, not even, maybe. But he did get the belt back at WrestleMania 26 against Batista, held it through the Nexus angle in early 2010. So the reign was whatever, but the match was phenomenal. I love the Cena-Batista feud. I really liked their feud and match in 2008, and then they ran it back one more time in 2010, right before Batista left the company, and Batista put him over on 3 straight pay-per-views before he left the company, which I thought was a great endorsement of Cena. I mean, by that point, Cena didn't need the fucking endorsement, but that was nice of Batista to do, the same way that Triple H did for him 5 years earlier. So this goes in A for me. I really enjoyed that match. I'll probably put it at the bottom of A, but I really liked that match between the two. And I didn't mind the outcome because I thought Cena getting his win back from SummerSlam 2008 made the most sense. And then finally here, this is, I'm telling you right now, the bottom of D. John Cena winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 29. That might have been the same picture I used in the tier list that we did last week, where John Cena was doing the whole twice-in-a-lifetime bullshit with The Rock. He lost The Rock the year before in a non-title match. Neither of them were champion at that point. Aside from being the People's Champion, The Rock is. But they had a rematch at WrestleMania 29. That was far inferior to the original. The original wasn't a 5-star classic, but it kind of had that like Rock Hogan vibes from Mania 18, 10 years earlier, where it was like all about the crowd involvement. Like, it was fun. Mania 29 was a finisher spam fest. Legitimately, no one gave a fuck. John Cena got endorsed by The Rock afterward, and at that point, Cena did not need the endorsement. He was already a made man. It was the wrong call. The only thing that would have salvaged this win would have been John Cena turning heel. Maybe then it would have been a little bit higher. But the match sucked. John Cena had not been world champion in a year and a fucking half since the late 2011, and people still did not care. And it's amazing because we thought that was a long time for Cena to not have a world championship, and now he hasn't been world champion in 8 years. But, like, the match was terrible. The build was actually better than the build for the first one, shockingly. They actually did a good job on the promos building up this match, going into WrestleMania 29, getting more serious, great video package, but the crowd did not care. The match was awful, and the immediate aftermath where Rock was holding up the arm of Cena to close the show almost made me vomit. So honestly, this is bottom of D. This was like so fucking nauseating that it was hard to care. So that's my list. That is my list of John Cena's top world championship wins in WWE, all 16 of them. Obviously not counting 17 if it happens, because it hasn't happened yet as of this recording. But let's go through this one more time here. From the bottom all the way to the top, worst to best. I just mentioned this one, but at the very bottom of D, John Cena winning the WWE Championship from The Rock at WrestleMania 29 in 2013. John Cena beating Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship at Hell in the Cell 2013. I thought it was Survivor Series. That is how forgettable that whole fucking time period is for me and how bad the WWE product was back then. I thought it was at Survivor Series. That was where they had their rematch. I forgot about that. Top of D, John Cena beating Edge to win back the WWE title of Royal Rumble 06. Bottom of C now, John Cena winning the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber at Elimination Chamber 2010, the first ever Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Up next, John Cena beating Chris Jericho for the World Heavyweight Championship at Survivor Series 2008. John Cena winning the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 25 from Edge and Big Show in a triple threat match. John Cena winning the WWE Championship from Del Rio at the 2011 Night of Champions pay-per-view. Winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the vacant WWE World Heavyweight title at Money in the Bank 2014 in a multi-man ladder match. We enter B now. Beating Randy Orton in an I Quit match for the WWE title, a Breaking Point, the one and only 2009. Winning the WWE Championship from Miz and Morrison in a triple threat steel cage match at Extreme Rules 2011. Winning his first WWE title at WrestleMania 21 in 2005. We now enter the A category. John Cena beating Batista for the WWE title at WrestleMania 26 in 2010. Beating Randy Orton to win back the WWE title in an Iron Man match and Bragging Rights 09. Beating Rey Mysterio in a very frustrating turn of events, but a great match, though, on Raw. The only world championship that he won on Raw, actually. All the other ones I just mentioned were on pay-per-view, I believe, right? Yeah, so the only world championship for John Cena on Raw. Beating Rey Mysterio for the championship on the July 25th, 2011 edition of Raw. Don't ask how I remember that, I just do. And then entering the S category here, beating Edge for the WWE title at Unforgiven 2006 in a TLC match, and then beating AJ Styles at Royal Rumble 2017 for his 16th World Championship win. If he does indeed win the undisputed easy for me to say. If he does indeed win the WWE title, the undisputed WWE Championship at WrestleMania 41, where will it rank among these moments and matches? We're going to soon find out. Maybe if he loses, we won't have to, but that would be fucking terrible after just turning him heel. So I'm excited to see what Cena does as a heel. Fingers crossed for Raw today, tonight, whenever you're watching it. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I appreciate it. We've done plenty of other, WrestleRant Ranks videos in the last 2 months. So check those out in the description box. A lot of other rankings and tier lists and quizzes, so check those out in the playlist down below. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for daily content and the live videos that we do on Tuesdays coming up this week on Tuesday, #AskGSM, and WrestleRant Radio Live every single Thursday here on the channel. So until next time, guys, happy St. Patrick's Day again. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.